got back from my son's college orientation at a big state university here where we live, and I have some thoughts. I'm honestly still kind of processing everything. It was very much like drinking out of a fire hose. But because of what I do here at It's All His, and also my other job of teaching high schoolers about stewardship and debt and managing money to the glory of God, I had some definite things that really stuck out to me that I wanted to talk about. So first of all, let's talk about all the student debt. Now, I have discussed this in many a video here on the channel. College loan epidemic, particularly for the younger millennials, it's bad. It's really bad. Now, I'm not saying that all student debt is bad. In fact, if you've watched some of my other videos, I talk about how some wisely taken out student debt in small amounts for the right things with a plan to pay it off fast can be actually an investment in your future. It is just so obvious nowadays that student debt is not like optional, it is just assumed. It's not presented as a last resort, just use a little bit if you maybe need it. It is you're coming here, you're having the entire college experience and you're putting it, all in the form of loans. It's kind of crazy. It's not presented as something to think carefully about or as even how it works with interest and all the different types of loans and the repayments, all of that stuff. It's just sort of like, okay, you're here, now here's a bunch of student debt for you. There was a portion of the orientation that my son had to go do this kind of like open house, talk to people at different tables, and he said, hands down, the most aggressive and pushy person was the student loan lady. He said she was very friendly, but very, very adamant, wanting to make sure he knew about all the loans he could get and maybe even started the process of signing up for some then and there. Even on our end, since filling out the FAFSA for him, we have been just bombarded. I probably get an email daily from Sally Mae trying to make sure I can get this kid a loan. And then there was what the loans are used for. The lifestyle that is being promoted to these young people as they head off to college. It's so unrealistic, and it's no wonder that so many young people are just drowning in debt because they get set with this idea of what life is supposed to look like and be like, and then they leave college, many of them already in tens of thousands of dollars in debt, and then they have to emulate this lifestyle. Here's what I'm talking about. If you look at the off-campus housing at this particular university, it is beautiful. It is the kind of place that has the swimming pool and the game room and the amenities that most 18-year-olds didn't live that way before they got to college and probably won't be able to afford to live that way when they get out. You're sort of setting this really, really high bar for what your lifestyle and your living experience should be. And a lot of that is being paid for with debt and interest down the road. I mean, some of these places look like resorts, the fitness centers and all the different pools and the trash service amenities, all of these things. It's just not realistic. What kind of standard of living expectation are we setting for kids with this? If this is what they think normal life is at 18, what are they going to expect that they should be doing at 25? And what are they going to be going into debt to try to live up to that expectation? And no, I'm not saying this is all the university's fault or even the students' fault. I think we parents have a little bit of a responsibility in this. We want our little darlings to never be uncomfortable in any way. And so we're like, oh, they do need the game room and the fitness center and all of the amenities and all of that stuff. We aren't, upset that our children are living in this luxurious way. We're just maybe not thinking about what that's going to mean long term for them, for their expectations and for their financial futures. Particularly when we're like, yeah, let's just finance that all with student debt. The next area that was spoken about so much, like I was kind of stunned by how much this was a topic, was the food. We were in a parent panel setup. Our son was off doing something different, and we had to sit and listen to some kids talk about their experience. And almost every question had something to do with the food situation on campus. It was all about all the different restaurants on campus. You have your mall food court type area, but then you've got all these places that have their own vibe and their own, types of menus. And just these kids talked more about the food that they ate on campus and off campus and the different restaurants that they went to and what all the food was like all the time. And I just kept thinking, how much of that food are you financing with student debt? Like, will you be paying for that sushi night with your friends 15 years from now with interest? It's insane to me. I couldn't wrap my head around this. And no one else seemed Like, I was looking around the room at all these other parents and they're just kind of nodding along. And I was just like, you guys, is no one else worried about this? I don't know. In this panel, we were talking about mukbangs. Like, I didn't even know what that was, so I looked it up. If you don't know what it is, I mean, I don't really recommend you look it up. It's kind of gross, but it's essentially just social media where you watch people just pile in huge amounts of food. So this girl is talking about this restaurant where she likes to do a mukbang and everybody laughs, ha ha ha, and here's the most Instagrammable spots on campus. Now, what this tells me is you're going to have some young people who think that life is all about eating out at all the fancy places, that is what you do. You have your regular restaurants and you go out to eat with your friends. That is not a sustainable lifestyle for most people with most budgets, particularly if they are drowning in student debt. So again, as we set the standard really high with where they live and all the amenities, we're also setting the standard really high with how they eat and going out to eat. And this is just not sustainable and it's not realistic. What are we doing to our kids? And granted, like, I'm not saying every single young person on that campus was taking out debt. There may be people whose parents have been saving up their entire lives. Maybe they come from money and there's not even a concern about paying. Maybe they earned some amazing scholarships. Part of the reason our son can go to this school and hope to do it debt-free is because of a scholarship that he earned. But it's like people think you're weird if you're not just sold out to the college experience. And the reality is, if you look at the numbers, the majority of the people in that room were going to take out debt. Either the students were going to take it out or the parents were going to co-sign it for them, because that is what a lot of kids have to do because they have no credit history. There's just going to be a whole lot of debt taken on for this college experience. And I can't abide the idea of paying with interest for a burger that I ate 20 years ago. That to me is just nuts. I've been doing a lot of research lately, just hearing younger millennials, people who are in like their late 20s, early 30s, they're just really reckoning with the student debt now. They'll say things like, I have been paying on this debt for 8 years and I probably won't be debt free until 20. And it's like a number that's really, really far away. And they'll talk about, what did I spend the money on? Well, I spent it on going out with my friends. I spent it on buying clothes. I spent it on having fun experiences. And now I regret it. And now I can't list out all the things they can't do because they are just focusing on trying to pay off this debt. They've got loans from all different kinds of places because a lot of times the federal loans you get through FAFSA won't be enough. So you take what they'll give you and then you have to go out and get private loans, and they have all these different interest rates, or maybe they try to consolidate it. It just sounds like such a heavy burden. I understand that this was something that we were taught. My generation, we were taught you got to go to college to be successful. And so it was almost like you got to do that by any means necessary kind of thing. But I think we have enough time removed from that way of thinking, and we have enough examples of people who are drowning in debt and regretting their decisions and not seeing that it was fruitful, to be able to tell this younger generation of kids, the ones who just started college, maybe they've been there a couple years or they're going to be going soon, where my son is at. What are you doing? Let's think about this a different way. Let's look at the fruit from what's come from recent years, and let's see if there isn't a better way to go about this. It's a lot to think about. And I might be stepping on some toes here. Like, maybe you are happy and comfortable for your kid to take on all this debt so that they can have the college experience, or they can go to that school that's like the family school that you all go to, or whatever it may be. And you know what? That's okay. This is not a video about judging you personally and your decisions, or you looking at mine and what I'm doing. This is a video that's mostly just about thinking differently. Because here at It's All His, we want to manage God's money, God's way for God's glory. And that means we have to be different than the world. So if you've made it this far, you've kind of listened to my rant, I just want to encourage us. How can we be different? How can we think different? How can we not just keep up with what the world is doing and what the world is telling their kids, and direct our children in a different direction to the glory of God? That's the ultimate point. Because I want to see your kids and my kids not be weighed down by student debt until they're 55. I want to see them have the freedom that comes from knowing that they can work hard and still earn that degree if that's the route that they're on, without having to be encumbered by all of that just heaviness when they're so young and probably don't even really realize what they're getting themselves into. We who are older, who maybe have lived through some of those mistakes, and I'm pointing the finger at myself. I took on student debt, not for room and board, just for tuition and books. And thankfully it wasn't a ton, but I was still paying off on that debt for many, many years before we got that done. And I really didn't know what I was getting into. Nobody taught me. And can we just do it different? Can we just help our kids to think differently and go into these decisions with eyes wide open. That's my goal. I want young people to understand how money works so that they won't make the same mistakes that I made or maybe you made. I feel like we should all be cheerleading that. All right, rant over. I'd love to hear in the comments, what was your experience with student debt? You, your kids, are you noticing these same trends that I did? Let me know down there. I love reading those and I answer each and every one. And if you want to know about more things I wish I knew before I went to college, click into this video next and I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching.